You were in Afghanistan in 2002, and you were called into a very remote section of Afghanistan because a patrol had basically gone missing.
After decades, a US veteran finally confirmed the rumors about the Kandahar Giant, and the account did not begin like a campfire legend. It began with a missing patrol, a silent radio, and a route toward a cave in the mountains of Afghanistan. That is what makes this so disturbing. The veteran did not describe something heard from another soldier. He spoke as someone who said he was there, close enough to remember the terrain, the fear, and the moment the mission changed from a search into something no one expected. But the strangest part is what happened after the encounter. The body did not stay on the mountain. The men involved were not encouraged to talk, and the silence around 2002 only made the rumors grow darker. So what did the US veteran really confirm about the Kandahar Giant, and why was this encounter buried for so long? Mr. K did not speak as a man repeating something overheard at a base. He presented himself as a direct witness at the cave. His real identity remained protected, but his description followed the mission from its beginning to its final recovery. He described the landscape, the missing soldiers, the route to the cave, and the equipment found near its entrance. He then described the figure itself, the attack, the gunfire, the fallen American, and the body being removed by aircraft. The testimony became public through L.A. Marzulli, who presented the interview in Watchers 10, DNA. Marzulli connected the modern account with older traditions involving giants and unusual human-like beings. A second military source appeared in material connected with the Kandahar account. That man did not place himself inside the firefight. He said the rumors were known among troops and local residents, even though open discussion was discouraged. Marzulli also referred to an earlier account repeated by radio host George Noory. It involved an unnamed pilot who said he had helped transport an enormous body away from Afghanistan. The three voices occupied different positions. Mr. K described the confrontation at the cave. The second source described knowledge circulating inside the military environment. The pilot account concerned what allegedly happened after the body left the mountain. Together, they formed a chain running from the search patrol to the cave, from the cave to a helicopter, and from the helicopter toward a larger transport system. Each account supplied a different section of the same disturbing route. Protected identities made the men difficult to trace, but secrecy stood at the center of Mr. K's explanation. He said those involved had been ordered to keep the encounter out of public discussion. His most important statement was simple. The Kandahar event was not presented to him as folklore. He said it was a real military encounter in 2002, one that began when another American patrol stopped answering its radio. According to Mr. K, the incident began when an American infantry patrol failed to arrive at its expected meeting point. Radio communication had stopped, and no clear explanation reached the soldiers assigned to find them. In Afghanistan, silence could mean damaged equipment, difficult terrain, capture, an ambush, or a team trapped beyond help. The search group had to move without knowing which possibility waited ahead. Mr. K said they traveled through rough country near Kandahar province for several days. The route became narrower as it climbed. What began as a mountain track eventually resembled a trail better suited to animals than military vehicles. The geography made that isolation possible. Kandahar included open desert, dry northern hills, and harder mountain terrain approaching the Pakistan border. Large areas could not be reached through ordinary roads. Soldiers depended on helicopter access and radio contact, maps, local knowledge, and direct observation. One ridge could hide the next valley. A team could disappear behind stone within minutes and remain unseen from the nearest settlement. The search party eventually noticed a cave entrance above the trail. Caves were common enough to be taken seriously. They could conceal armed groups, ammunition, radios, supplies, and routes leading deeper into the mountains. What changed the mission was what Mr. K said lay outside the opening. He described scattered bones and damaged American equipment. Among the objects was communications gear connected to the missing patrol. The equipment suggested that the lost soldiers had reached the cave. It also raised the possibility that whatever stopped their communication had happened at this exact location. The search team had not yet moved into the darkness. According to the veteran, it did not need to. Something inside the cave had already heard them, and it was moving out to meet them. Mr. K described a figure far larger than any person the search team expected to face. He estimated its height at 12 to 15 feet. Its general shape appeared human, but its size and physical details placed it outside anything the men had encountered before. The figure had long reddish hair and a heavy beard. Mr. K described unusual teeth and 6 digits on its hands and feet. Its body was covered with clothing that appeared to have been made from animal skins. In its hands was a long spear or pike. The weapon made the figure immediately dangerous. It did not emerge confused by the soldiers or frightened by their rifles. It came out of the opening ready to attack. Mr. K said the creature moved with startling speed despite its size. The distance between the cave and the patrol disappeared before the men could fully understand what they were seeing. A soldier identified only as Dan was struck by the weapon. The others reacted with gunfire, aiming repeatedly toward the figure's upper body and head. The veteran remembered the sustained firing continuing for roughly 30 seconds. In ordinary life, half a minute passes quickly. In close combat, it becomes an extended period of noise, movement, and repeated attempts to stop one target. That part of the account showed what the soldiers believed in the moment. They did not think the first shots were stopping the figure. They kept firing until it finally collapsed near the cave. When the weapons went quiet, Dan was down. The enormous red-haired body lay motionless in front of the entrance. The missing patrol's equipment remained scattered nearby. The team had survived the confrontation, but the mission had changed completely. The object on the ground was too large to be moved like an ordinary battlefield casualty. According to Mr. K, the soldiers called for aircraft support, and the recovery drew the giant into a military system with far more people than those who had witnessed the shooting. Mr. K said the dead figure could not be carried down the narrow trail. Its length, weight, and location required a different extraction. The team secured the body inside heavy cargo netting and prepared it for an aerial lift. One version placed the body's weight near 1,100 pounds. Even inside a net, cargo that large could not pass unnoticed by the crews handling it. A helicopter allegedly lifted the body from the mountain. Pilots would have needed the load information. Crew chiefs would have watched the cables and balance. Ground personnel would have attached the net, while another receiving team waited at the landing point. Later versions described a transfer to a larger aircraft. Some named a C-130 transport. Others mentioned a C-17. The reported route moved through Europe in one version and toward the United States in another. The details varied as the account moved between people who may have seen different stages. Yet each version preserved the same central event. The body did not remain beside the cave. It left Afghanistan under military control. The operating environment supported this type of movement. Operation Mountain Lion, launched during the spring of 2002, used helicopter missions from Bagram and Kandahar to reach remote areas, conduct reconnaissance, search for enemy forces, and patrol difficult terrain. That history placed helicopters, small teams, and isolated mountain routes inside the normal structure of the war. Aircraft could arrive, remove personnel or cargo, and return to a base without anyone outside the mission knowing what had been carried. According to Mr. K, once the body was lifted away, the search team lost control of it. The men who had faced the figure did not follow it through every transfer. They saw only the first stage of an organized military recovery. The helicopter carried away the most important physical object connected with the encounter. Every later transfer placed another crew, command, and restricted destination between the witnesses and the body, far beyond public reach. The soldiers returned with their memories, their ammunition records, and the death of Dan. Their next step should have been writing everything into official reports. Mr. K said that was exactly where the second disappearance began. A military contact normally creates mission paperwork, missing personnel, injuries, deaths, ammunition use, aircraft support, recovered equipment, and hostile contact can each produce separate records. Mr. K said his team prepared reports describing the figure at the cave. Those first accounts included what came out of the entrance, the weapon it carried, the attack on Dan, and the gunfire required to bring it down. According to the veteran, those reports were rejected. The soldiers were ordered to rewrite the incident using ordinary military language that removed the extraordinary details. He also said the men received orders to remain silent. The warning extended beyond paperwork. It controlled what they could discuss after leaving the mission. This explained why a public file might never contain the same words Mr. K used in the interview. If the final document described normal enemy contact, a casualty, or an unusual recovery without identifying the figure, later searches would follow the wrong language. The original description could have survived only inside an earlier draft, a restricted briefing, a classified attachment, or the memories of the people present. The accepted report would show the military structure while concealing what made the event different. Mr. K's hidden identity remained part of that fear. He did not publicly release his full name, rank, unit, service number, or deployment papers. He appeared on camera as someone willing to describe the event, but unwilling to expose the details that could identify him completely. The second source supported the atmosphere around the account. He said rumors about a giant encounter near Kandahar circulated among some military personnel, even though men did not openly attach their names to them. Mr. K went much further. He did not merely confirm that troops were talking. He said he watched the figure emerge, witnessed the spear attack, joined the response, and saw the body leave in a cargo net. His testimony turned the rumor into a claimed eyewitness account. The rewritten report explained the silence that followed. To understand how an incident of that scale could disappear, the story had to be placed inside the real military landscape of Afghanistan in 2002. The Kandahar account was set during one of the most uncertain phases of Operation Enduring Freedom. By the spring of 2002, Taliban and Al-Qaeda forces had lost several major positions, but armed groups continued moving through Afghanistan and across the border. Coalition troops searched for fighters, weapon stores, communication sites, and routes through remote terrain. Official histories described reconnaissance missions and cave searches, raids, and patrols across southeastern Afghanistan. Some teams left Kandahar by helicopter and remained in the field for days. Distance from large bases increased the danger of broken communication, delayed support, and incomplete knowledge about what waited beyond the next ridge. Caves carried real military importance. They could hold ammunition, documents, radio equipment, supplies, and concealed passageways. A cave entrance found near missing American gear would immediately change a search mission into a possible hostile contact. Kandahar province contained several landscapes. The south was largely desert. Hills rose farther north. Mountain terrain appeared near Spin Boldak and the Pakistan border. Mapping the region remained difficult. USGS radar mapping drew on older military data because many locations could not be surveyed easily from the ground. One valley might remain hidden from another only a short distance away. These conditions created the exact isolation described by Mr. K. A missing patrol could stop transmitting. A search team could follow a narrow route to a cave. A helicopter could recover an unusual load without nearby communities seeing the operation. The war also created layers of restricted information. Small unit missions were not announced publicly as they happened. Locations, intelligence, casualties, aviation support, and enemy contact could be recorded in different systems. American, British, Canadian, and Australian forces all participated in operations across the broader theater. Their missions differed, but many relied upon the same basic pattern. Aircraft carried small groups into areas where roads offered little help, and those teams searched terrain that could not be understood from a distant headquarters. Men looked for weapons, documents, radios, abandoned positions, and routes used by fighters crossing between Afghanistan and Pakistan. A patrol might spend days moving through valleys and ridges before reaching a single objective. This mattered because the Kandahar account did not require a public convoy or a large formation. Mr. K described a compact search element pursuing another missing group. In the official environment of 2002, that kind of movement could remain known only to the personnel involved, the aviation crew supporting them, and the command receiving their reports. A strange recovery could therefore generate several limited records without becoming visible to the wider force. Mr. K's setting matched a real operational world of remote cave searches, helicopter insertions, limited visibility, and controlled reports. Inside that world, only the Giant stood beyond ordinary experience. Its appearance carried another disturbing connection. The red hair, extra fingers and toes, animal skins, great height, and ancient spear resembled descriptions associated with giant beings long before American forces entered Afghanistan. Mr. K's physical description did not stop with height. He gave a cluster of details that made the figure resemble something taken from an older age. The giant allegedly possessed 6 fingers and 6 toes. It wore animal skin clothing and carried a weapon closer to an ancient spear than any modern firearm. Long red hair fell around its head, and a heavy beard covered much of its face. Marzulli connected those features with the Nephilim tradition and older religious descriptions of giant warriors. Biblical giant accounts describe unusually large men, including one warrior with extra digits. For supporters of the Kandahar testimony, the connection made the veteran's account more disturbing. Mr. K appeared to describe features already associated with ancient giant bloodlines: unnatural height, additional fingers and toes, and immense physical power. The veteran also emphasized unexpected speed and resistance to gunfire. The figure was not simply a very tall man standing at a distance. It closed on armed soldiers, struck one of them, and remained upright while the team continued firing. Its home reinforced the older image. The being emerged from an isolated mountain cave, far from ordinary settlement. Ancient accounts often placed dangerous creatures beyond the controlled boundaries of human communities. Every part of the description worked together. Height alone might be misjudged during combat. Hair color alone would prove little. But Mr. K described a complete figure with an unusual body, primitive clothing, a massive weapon, and behavior the soldiers considered outside normal experience. In November 2022, the Kandahar account entered an official Department of Defense record through a Freedom of Information Act request. The request went to the Department of Defense Office of Inspector General. It was logged under the number DODOIG-2023-000161. Its description asked for records concerning an alleged giant humanoid killed in Kandahar during Operation Enduring Freedom in 2002. The wording included physical details connected with Mr. K's testimony, including 6 fingers and 2 sets of teeth. The famous description had moved from interviews and military rumor into a formal request for government files. The public FOIA log showed that the request was received and closed on the same displayed date. It did not publish the complete response sent to the requester. No body report, photograph, cargo document, aircraft manifest, or medical file appeared beside the entry. The log confirmed that the government had been asked, while the material searched and the answer returned remained outside public view. A recovery involving aircraft could have produced records across several offices. Flight information might belong to an aviation unit. Casualty material could sit in another system. Intelligence and medical documentation might use completely different classifications. The incident may never have been recorded under the name Kandahar Giant. If Mr. K's report was rewritten, a search using the popular title might fail to reach a mission filed as ordinary contact or casualty recovery. The FOIA entry therefore created a new stage in the account. The question had formally reached the Pentagon system. The unusual wording had been entered into a government log. Yet the public trail stopped at the point where the agency's full answer should have begun. The request did not follow the aircraft to its destination. It did not identify the unit at the cave or the team receiving the body. But it established that someone had asked for the missing chain using details nearly identical to the veteran's description. One more connection remained. Mr. K had called the fallen soldier Dan. An official record preserved the death of a Special Forces soldier named Daniel near Kandahar during the same year. Mr. K said the spear killed a team member called Dan. He did not release the man's surname in the public interview, leaving the most important human identity inside the account incomplete. Official records preserve the name Sergeant First Class Daniel Aaron Romero, a soldier who died near Kandahar in April 2002. Romero served in B Company, 5th Battalion, 19th Special Forces Group. A congressional tribute recorded that he died near Kandahar on April 15, 2002. A Department of Veterans Affairs memorial confirmed his Army service and Afghanistan deployment. The public military account associated Romero's death with an explosive incident. Mr. K described a spear attack. The difference kept the two accounts from forming a simple identification. Yet the overlap remained difficult to ignore. The first name, Special Forces connection, year and location all sat close to the Kandahar rumor. A real American loss occupied the same general environment as the veteran's unnamed Dan. Mr. K may have referred to another man whose surname remained protected. A changed report could also preserve a different cause of death from the one he described. Only the unit, mission date, patrol roster, and casualty records connected with the cave could settle the identity. Those details were never released with the testimony. The incomplete name remained another locked door between the public account and the military files capable of confirming every participant. By this point, the main strands had converged. A direct witness account described the confrontation. A second military voice described the circulating rumor. A pilot account followed the body. Official history confirmed the operational setting. The Pentagon log proved that a formal request had been made using the same unusual details. The documented death near Kandahar kept the name Dan attached to a real military loss from 2002. Every trail returned to the missing original mission record. The final meaning therefore depended on separating what Mr. K personally confirmed from what later sources added around his words. According to his account, his team entered the mountains in 2002 to search for an American patrol that had stopped responding. Their route ended near a cave where they found bones and damaged military communications equipment. A red-haired giant emerged carrying a long spear. Mr. K placed its height between 12 and 15 feet. He described extra fingers and toes, unusual teeth, animal skin clothing, enormous strength, and unexpected speed. The figure struck a soldier called Dan. The other men answered with sustained gunfire until the creature fell near the cave entrance. Mr. K said the body was secured in cargo netting and removed by military aircraft. He then said the team's first reports were rejected, the incident was rewritten, and the men were ordered not to speak about what happened. The second military source supported the existence of Kandahar Giant rumors among troops. The pilot account added the removal of an enormous body. Official Army history placed helicopter missions, remote patrols, reconnaissance, and cave operations around Kandahar during the same period. The 2022 Department of Defense FOIA log later recorded a formal request containing the same rare physical details attached to Mr. K's description. This was the confirmation promised after decades of rumors. The veteran said the encounter happened. He described why the team entered the mountains, what waited at the cave, how Dan was killed, how the figure fell, and how its body disappeared into military custody. The unanswered part began after the cargo net left the ground. The original mission report, exact coordinates, aircraft manifests, photographs, receiving personnel, and the final destination remained beyond public reach. Mr. K's testimony survived because it supplied the complete sequence no official public file had shown. Missing patrol, mountain trail, abandoned equipment, giant figure, spear attack, gunfire. A body lifted into the air. Reports rewritten after the men returned. The Kandahar rumor had circulated for years as a fragment. The veteran turned those fragments into one continuous military account. His words did not end the mystery. They identified exactly where its final answer disappeared. More than 2 decades later, the question still follows the aircraft away from the mountain. If the Kandahar Giant's body entered military control, where was it taken? And which restricted record still contains the destination?